The transport ship Harmony's Edge moved slowly through space toward the bright yellow star in the distance. Inside the ship, alien passengers from many different worlds sat together in small groups. Their voices were quiet, but their fear was loud. Lee Daeho sat alone near a window, watching the stars pass by. He was a human engineer who had been working on mining stations far from home for 3 years. Now he was finally going back to Earth. He should have been happy, but something felt wrong. The other passengers kept looking at him. When he walked down the hallways, they moved away from him. Some pressed themselves against the walls, others crossed to the other side. A few even turned around and walked the other way. Daeho did not understand why everyone was acting so strange. He had made friends with many aliens during his time working in space. He was good at fixing machines, and he always helped others when they needed it. But now, on this ship, everyone seemed afraid of him. The ship's speaker came alive with a deep voice. Commander Kelth, the ship's captain, was speaking. Kelth was a Vorthak, a species that looked like large lizards who could walk on 2 legs. "Attention, all passengers and crew," Kelth's voice said. "We are now entering the Sol system. This is the most dangerous area of known space. Please stay in your rooms as much as possible. Do not make loud noises. Follow all safety rules." Daeho laughed quietly to himself. Dangerous area? He was going home to Earth, the most peaceful place he knew. His mother would be waiting for him with his favorite food. His old friends would want to hear stories about space. His little apartment near the river would be just as he left it. A small creature suddenly ran into Daeho's leg. It was an Etherian child, no bigger than a human baby but with large purple eyes and silver skin. The child looked up at Daeho and began to cry very loudly. "Monster! Monster!" the child screamed in the common galactic language. The child's parent rushed over. The parent was tall and thin with the same silver skin. "I am so sorry," the parent said to Daeho, but stayed far away. "Please do not hurt us. We meant no trouble." "Hurt you?" Daeho asked. "Why would I hurt you? Are you okay, little one?" But the parent had already picked up the child and run away. Other passengers turned to stare at Daeho. Their faces showed fear and worry. Daeho sat back down, feeling confused and sad. What was wrong with everyone? A few minutes later, someone sat down across from him. Daeho looked up to see a Zephyrian female. Her skin looked like it was made of light blue crystal, and her hair moved like water even though there was no wind. "You are human," she said. It was not a question. "Yes," Daeho replied. "My name is Lee Daeho. What is your name?" "I am Park Mina," she said. "I am a diplomat. I have been sent to make contact with your world's government." "That's nice," Daeho said. "Earth will welcome you. We like meeting new people." Park Mina's crystal-like face showed surprise. "You are not angry that I spoke to you?" "Why would I be angry?" Daeho asked. "You seem very polite." "The others told me that humans become violent when strangers approach them," she said quietly. Daeho laughed. "That's not true at all. Humans love to talk to new people. We have parties just to meet strangers." "Where did you hear that?" Park Mina reached into a small bag and pulled out a flat device. She touched it and a screen appeared in the air between them. "The Galactic Council gave me this information about your world." Words appeared on the screen in bright red letters. "Earth, Class Z Combat Zone. Approach with extreme caution. Inhabitants show dangerous aggression levels and survival abilities." Below the words were more details. "Warning. This planet produces the most violent life forms in known space. Humans have been observed engaging in constant warfare. Their world is filled with deadly creatures and extreme weather. Only trained military personnel should attempt contact." Daeho stared at the screen. "This is about Earth? My Earth?" "Yes," Park Mina said. "Is it not accurate?" "No," Daeho said, louder than he meant to. Several passengers nearby moved further away. "Earth is beautiful and peaceful. We have gardens and music and art. Children play in parks. People help each other." Park Mina looked at him carefully. "But what about this? She touched the device again and new images appeared. Daiho saw pictures of hurricanes, earthquakes, and volcanoes. He saw lions hunting zebras. He saw soldiers in old wars. The Council's scouts have been watching your world for many years, she said. They see constant destruction and fighting. They see creatures that eat other creatures while they are still alive. They see humans who seem to enjoy danger. Daiho looked at the images again. The hurricane looked like the one that hit his city 5 years ago. But after it passed, neighbors helped neighbors. People shared food and water. Strangers opened their homes to families who lost everything. The soldiers were from old history books. Humans had learned to solve problems with words instead of weapons. Most people on Earth had never even seen a real war. The lions were just animals being animals. Humans worked hard to protect all animals, even dangerous ones. These pictures. Don't tell the whole story, Daiho said. Then tell me the true story, Park Mina said. But before Daiho could answer, the ship shook slightly. Captain Kelth's voice came over the speaker again. We are now close to the third planet from the sun. All passengers must go to their rooms. Security teams prepare for possible hostile contact. Remember, we are dealing with the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Park Mina stood up quickly. I must go. My government will be angry if I am hurt before I complete my mission. Wait, Daiho said. Let me explain about Earth. Let me tell you what it's really like. But Park Mina was already walking away. She moved fast, like she was afraid Daiho might chase her. Daiho sat alone again, looking out the window. In the distance, he could see a small blue dot getting bigger. Earth. His home. The place where his mother made soup on cold days, and where flowers grew in every yard. How had his beautiful world become known as the most dangerous place in the galaxy? How had his people, who loved music and laughter and helping others, become feared as monsters? As the ship moved closer to Earth, Daiho heard other passengers talking in worried voices. They spoke about humans like they were talking about devils or wild beasts. They made plans to stay on the ship and never set foot on the planet. One alien near him was talking to a friend on a communication device. Yes, I will be near the human world, but do not worry. I will not go down to the surface. My insurance does not cover visits to Class Z combat zones. Another passenger was reading from a travel guide. Humans are known to consume living creatures as entertainment. They engage in physical combat for fun. They live in cities that are actually military camps. Daiho wanted to laugh and cry at the same time. Eating living creatures meant eating fresh fish and vegetables. Physical combat for fun meant sports, like football and boxing, where people followed rules and no one got seriously hurt. Cities were just places where people lived and worked together. But how could he explain all of this? How could he make them understand that Earth was not a world of monsters, but a world of people who just wanted to live good lives? The blue dot outside the window was getting bigger. Soon he would be home. But for the first time in his life, Daiho wondered if going home would be as simple as he thought. The next morning, Lee Daiho woke up to the sound of alarms. Red lights flashed in his small room on the ship. He quickly put on his clothes and opened his door to see what was happening. The hallways were full of scared aliens running around. Some were carrying bags and boxes. Others were talking fast into communication devices. Everyone looked worried. Daiho stopped a small furry alien who was running past him. What is going on? He asked. The alien looked up at him with wide yellow eyes. We have entered the human solar system. The sensors show a giant rock ball orbiting near the death world. You mean the moon? Daiho asked. Moon? The alien repeated. Is that what you call your weapon platform? Daiho almost laughed. It's not a weapon. It's just a natural satellite. It's actually very beautiful at night. The alien's fur stood up straight. You live under the influence of such a massive gravitational force? No wonder humans are so strong and dangerous. Before Daiho could explain that the moon was harmless, the alien had run away. Daiho walked to the main observation deck. Through the large windows, he could see Earth getting closer. The blue and green planet looked exactly like he remembered. White clouds moved slowly across the surface. The sight made him feel happy and homesick at the same time. But around him, Other passengers were not happy at all. They were staring at Earth like they were looking at a monster. "Look at all that water," said a tall purple alien. "It must be acid to support such violent life forms." "And those white swirls," added another. "Those must be poison gas clouds." Deho wanted to tell them that the water was clean and safe to drink. The white swirls were just regular clouds that brought rain to help plants grow. But every time he tried to speak, the aliens moved away from him. Near the medical bay, Deho heard loud voices. He walked over to see what was happening. Kim Jinwoo, the ship's medical officer, was talking to a group of alien doctors. Jinwoo was an Aldorian, tall and blue with 4 arms. He had been friendly to Deho during the trip, but now he looked very worried. "I need to know everything about human biology," Jinwoo was saying to the others. "If someone gets hurt by a human, I must be ready to help them." "What kind of weapons do humans have?" asked a small robot-like alien. "Their whole bodies are weapons," Jinwoo replied, reading from a data pad. "They have strong muscles for fighting. Their teeth can tear through tough materials, their hands can crush solid objects." Deho looked at his own hands. They were just normal hands that he used for fixing machines and hugging his family. He walked closer to the group. "Excuse me," Deho said politely. "I could not help but hear you talking about humans. I am human, and I think there might be some misunderstanding." All the alien doctors stepped back quickly. Jinwoo held up his 4 hands like he was protecting himself. "Please do not be angry with us," Jinwoo said. "We are just trying to learn how to help people if they get injured." "I'm not angry," Deho said with a smile. "I just want to help you understand. Humans are not dangerous. We use our hands to build things and help others. We use our teeth to eat food, just like you do." "But the reports say humans consume living prey," said the robot alien. "We eat plants and animals, yes," Deho explained. "But we cook our food first. We have restaurants and farms. We take care of animals and grow vegetables." The doctors looked at each other with confusion. "You grow your own food?" Jinwoo asked. "You do not simply take it from others by force?" "Of course not," Deho said. "We work together to make sure everyone has enough to eat." But before he could say more, Captain Kelth's voice came over the speaker system. "All medical staff report to emergency stations. We are preparing for possible contact with hostile forces. Remember, humans have been known to attack without warning." Jinwoo and the other doctors hurried away, leaving Deho standing alone. In another part of the ship, Choi Yuna was having her own problems. She was a human scientist who had been studying alien biology for the past 2 years. During that time, she had worked closely with researchers from many different worlds. But now, as the ship approached Earth, everything had changed. Dr. Vex, an insectoid scientist with green shell-like skin, used to share his research with Yuna every day. They would talk for hours about different forms of life in the galaxy. Now he would not even look at her. "Dr. Vex," Yuna said, walking up to his workstation. "I wanted to show you the results from yesterday's tests." Dr. Vex turned away from her quickly. "I think it would be better if we did not work together anymore," he said quietly. "Why?" Yuna asked. "Did I do something wrong?" "You are human," Dr. Vex said, like that explained everything. "My government has told me to be very careful around your species." "But we have been friends for 2 years," Yuna said. "You know I would never hurt anyone." Dr. Vex's compound eyes looked at her with what might have been sadness. "I thought I knew you. But the council says humans are very good at pretending to be peaceful before they attack." Another scientist, Dr. Kral, joined the conversation. He was a large bear-like alien with thick gray fur. "Is it true that humans eat other living beings while they are still moving?" Dr. Kral asked. Yuna thought for a moment. "Do you mean like oysters or sushi?" Both alien scientists made sounds of horror. "You admit it," Dr. Vex said. "You consume living creatures for pleasure." "No, wait," Yuna said quickly. "Let me explain. Oysters don't have brains like we do. They don't feel pain the same way. And sushi is made from fish that are already dead. But her explanations only seemed to make things worse. The alien scientists walked away, whispering to each other in worried voices across the galaxy. Song Wubin was learning that the fear of humans was spreading everywhere. He was a human merchant who had built a successful business trading goods between different worlds. His alien business partners had always trusted him before. But now his communication device was full of canceled contracts and broken deals. A crystalline trader named Zeph had been buying Earth-made tools from Wubin for 3 years. Now Zeph was sending a message that made Wubin's heart sink. "Dear Wubin," the message said, "I am sorry, but my company can no longer do business with Earth traders. The Galactic Trade Commission has issued new warnings about your species. They say humans are unpredictable and might become violent during business negotiations. I hope you understand. Please do not contact me again." Wubin stared at the message. He had never been violent in his life. He solved all his business problems by talking and finding solutions that made everyone happy. But somehow the galaxy had decided that all humans were dangerous. Similar messages came from other partners. The Methane Breathers Union said they were afraid humans might go into combat mode if a deal went badly. The Silicon-based collective worried that humans were territorial expansion specialists who would try to take over their markets. None of it made sense to Wubin. Humans were just trying to be part of the galactic community. They wanted to share their culture and learn from others. They wanted to trade fairly and build friendships. Back on the ship, the fear was getting worse. As they got closer to Earth, passengers stayed in their rooms. When they did come out, they moved in groups and spoke in whispers. Deho heard one alien family talking about changing their travel plans. "We were supposed to visit the mining stations near Jupiter," the father was saying. "But that is too close to the human world. What if they decide to attack us?" "I heard they capture other species and force them to work as slaves," the mother replied. Their young child asked, "Will the humans eat us?" "I do not know," the father said. "But we are not going to find out. We will go to the Vega system instead." Deho felt sad and angry at the same time. His people were not monsters. They were farmers and teachers and artists and engineers like himself. They loved their families and took care of their pets and worried about paying their bills, just like people everywhere. But somehow, the galaxy had created a story about humans that was completely wrong. And now that story was spreading faster than the truth. As Earth grew larger in the windows, Deho wondered how he could possibly change the minds of so many scared aliens. How could one person fight against the fear of an entire galaxy? He looked at the beautiful blue planet that was his home and made a decision. He would find a way to show them the truth. He would prove that humans were not the monsters they believed them to be. But first he had to figure out how. The Harmony's Edge finally reached Earth's orbital station. The station looked like a giant wheel spinning slowly in space, with ships coming and going from all directions. To Deho, it looked like home. To the alien passengers, it looked like a military fortress. Nam Hyuk was working his usual shift as a security officer at the docking bay. He was a friendly man who always smiled at visitors and helped them find their way around the station. When he saw the transport ship arriving, he put on his best welcoming smile. The ship's doors opened and the alien passengers came out very slowly. They stayed close together and looked around nervously, like they expected something terrible to happen. "Welcome to Earth Station 1, Nam Hyuk said cheerfully, walking toward the group with his hand extended for a handshake. "I hope you had a good trip." But instead of shaking his hand, the aliens all jumped back. Several small ones hid behind the larger ones. A few made scared noises. "Please do not hurt us," one of them called out. "We come in peace." Nam Hyuk stopped walking and looked confused. "Hurt you?" "I just wanted to say hello. Is everything okay?" Park Mina stepped forward from the group. She was still scared, but she was trying to be brave because it was her job. "Are you a military commander?" she asked Nam Hyuk. Nam Hyuk laughed. "No, I'm just a security officer. I make sure everyone stays safe and finds where they need to go." "Security officer," Park Mina repeated. She spoke quietly to another alien in their own language. The alien's eyes got very wide. I am sorry, but we must wait here for our diplomatic escort, Park Mina said to Nam Hyok. We cannot move around your battle station without proper protection. Battle station? Nam Hyok asked. This is just a spaceport. We have shops and restaurants and places for people to sleep. Would you like me to show you around? We prefer to wait here, Park Mina said quickly. Nam Hyok shrugged. Okay, no problem. I'll be right over there if you need anything, just killing time until my shift ends. The moment he said killing time, several aliens made loud fear sounds and backed away further. Nam Hyok had no idea what he had done wrong. Few hours later, Han Jun arrived at the station. She was Earth's new alien relations officer, and this was her first big job. She had studied alien cultures for years and was excited to finally meet visitors from other worlds. But when she found the alien group, they were all huddled together in a corner of the docking bay looking terrified. Hello, Jun said with a big smile. I am Han Jun. I am here to help you with your visit to Earth. You are the diplomatic contact? Park Mina asked. Yes. I have prepared a wonderful tour of our planet for you. We will visit our most beautiful cities and see our amazing natural areas. The aliens looked at each other with worry. We cannot go to the planet's surface, Park Mina said. Our governments have forbidden it. Earth is classified as too dangerous. Dangerous? Jun asked. But Earth is perfectly safe. We have millions of visitors every year. Those must be military visitors, said another alien. Only trained soldiers could survive on a Class Z world. Jun felt confused and sad. She had worked so hard to prepare for this visit. She had made plans to show them Earth's most beautiful places. Let me show you some pictures, she said, pulling out her tablet. Maybe that will help you understand. She showed them a video of mountains covered with snow. These are the Rocky Mountains. Many people visit them for vacation. Massive rock obstacles, whispered one alien to another. Perfect for defensive positions. Next, she showed them the ocean. This is the Pacific Ocean. People love to swim, and sailboats here. Boiling acid seas, another alien said quietly. Look how it moves and crashes against the land. Jun showed them a forest. This is a national park. Families go there to see trees and animals. Dense predator hiding zones. The aliens concluded everything Jun showed them they saw as something dangerous and scary. When she mentioned that people climbed mountains for fun, they thought humans were crazy risk-takers. When she said people dove deep in the ocean, they decided humans must be adrenaline addicts who loved danger. What about your entertainment? Park Mina asked. What do humans do for fun? Jun was happy to answer. She showed them videos of sports, movies, and music concerts. But the aliens saw football and thought it was combat training. They watched an action movie and believed it was a historical documentary about human wars. When they heard rock music, they thought it was some kind of war song. Kang Dong-yun, a human anthropologist, tried to help explain human culture. He had been studying how humans and aliens might understand each other better. Sports are just games, he told the aliens. People play them for exercise and fun. No one gets seriously hurt. But they tackle each other to the ground, said an insect-like alien. They fight over territory. This is clearly military training. Movies are make-believe stories, Dong-yun explained. The violence is not real. Actors are just pretending. You mean humans practice warfare scenarios for entertainment? The alien asked with horror. Music is art, Dong-hyun said, getting more frustrated. People sing and dance to express their feelings. Those sounds are very loud and aggressive, another alien noted. Are they battle cries? No matter what, Dong-hyun said. The aliens found a way to see it as proof that humans were violent and dangerous. Lee Dae-ho watched all of this happening and felt more and more helpless. Everything he loved about human culture was being misunderstood. His people were not warriors or monsters. They were just people trying to live good lives and have some fun along the way. The situation got even worse when a group of human children arrived at the station. They were on a school trip to learn about space travel. Their teacher, Mrs. Park, was showing them around and explaining how the station worked. Now remember, children, Mrs. Park said, if there is ever an emergency, we practice our safety drills, so everyone knows what to do. Oh, Jisoo, a 10-year-old girl, accidentally pressed a button on the wall while looking around. Suddenly, emergency lights started flashing and an alarm began to sound. Emergency drill activated, a computer voice announced. All personnel report to safety positions. The human adults calmly began moving to their assigned places. The children lined up behind their teacher just like they had practiced in school. But to the alien visitors, this looked like something completely different. The human younglings are being trained for combat, one alien shouted. Look how quickly they organize. Into military formations, Gaidu, said another. Even their children are soldiers, cried a third. Park Mina watched the human children walking in neat lines and felt her worst fears confirmed. If humans trained their young ones for war, then they truly were the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Mrs. Park noticed the scared aliens and came over to explain. I am sorry about the alarm. One of my students accidentally started an emergency drill. We practice these so everyone knows how to stay safe. You train your offspring for battle scenarios, Park Mina said. It was not a question. Oh no, Mrs. Park laughed. We just teach them safety rules, like what to do if there is a fire or an earthquake. Earthquake? Park Mina asked. Yes, sometimes the ground shakes on Earth. It is natural, but we teach children how to protect themselves. This made the aliens even more scared. Not only were humans dangerous, but their world was so violent that even the ground attacked them. As the day went on, every attempt to show aliens the peaceful side of human life backfired. Every explanation made them more convinced that humans were exactly as dangerous as they had been told. When the shift change happened and new human workers arrived, the aliens saw it as fresh troops arriving. When humans talked about their daily routines, the aliens heard military schedules. When children played games, the aliens saw combat training. Daeho realized that the problem was not just misunderstanding. The problem was that the aliens had already decided what humans were like, and everything they saw just confirmed what they already believed. How could he change their minds when they saw everything through the lens of fear? As the day ended, the HFY alien delegation gathered to discuss what they had learned. Daeho could see them talking quietly among themselves, and he could guess what they were saying. They were probably confirming to each other that humans really were as dangerous as the reports claimed. They had seen the evidence with their own eyes. Daeho looked out at the stars and wondered if there was any way to show them the truth about humanity. But with each passing hour, that hope seemed to be getting smaller and smaller. The next morning brought a new crisis that would either make things much better or much worse. Oh, Jisoo, the young girl who had accidentally triggered the emergency alarm, was back at the station with her class for the second day of their field trip. The alien delegation was still staying in the docking area, too afraid to explore the station. They had spent the night talking among themselves, and now they were more convinced than ever that humans were dangerous. But Jisoo was curious about the strange visitors. She had never seen aliens before, and she wanted to know what they looked like up close. While her teacher was talking to another group, Jisoo quietly walked over to where the aliens were sitting. Hello, she said in a friendly voice. Are you from space? The aliens saw her coming and panicked. They thought this small human was some kind of advanced scout or spy. When she spoke to them, they interpreted her innocent question as an interrogation. Please, do not hurt us, small warrior, Park Mina said, trying to sound calm. Warrior? Jisoo giggled. I'm not a warrior. I'm just a student. I go to school and learn about math and reading. You learn combat, mathematics, and battle communications, another alien whispered to Park Mina. Jisoo heard them whispering and became confused. Are you okay? You seem scared. Do you want to see my drawing? She pulled out a piece of paper with a colorful picture on it. It showed stick figures of humans and aliens holding hands under a rainbow, with friends written in crayon across the top. But when the aliens saw the drawing, they did not see a friendly picture. They saw what they thought was a tactical map showing humans and aliens in different positions, with some kind of coded message written above it. She is showing us invasion plans, one alien said in their own language. Mrs. Park noticed that Jisoo had wandered off and came to get her. Jisoo, please come back to the group. I am sorry, she said to the aliens. Children are naturally curious. Your young ones are trained to gather intelligence, Park Mina said. Intelligence, Mrs. Park laughed. Well, I hope so. We do try to teach them to be smart and kind. But again, the aliens heard this as confirmation that human children were being trained as spies and soldiers. The situation was getting worse by the hour. That's when Yoon Seung-hwan decided to try a different approach. He was a human ship captain who had been watching the whole mess unfold. He thought maybe if he could show the aliens that space near Earth was safe, they might begin to understand that humans were not monsters. I have an idea, he told Han-jun. What if I take some of the braver aliens on a short trip around Earth? Just a gentle flight to see our planet from above? June thought it was worth trying. Maybe if they see how beautiful Earth is, they will realize we are not dangerous. Park Mina agreed to the trip, but only because her job required her to learn about Earth. 3 other aliens volunteered to come with her, though they were all very scared. Captain Yoon's ship was small and comfortable, designed for tourist flights around the solar system. He kept the flight very smooth and pointed out interesting sights as they traveled. There is our moon, he said as they passed the large gray sphere. Many humans dream of visiting it someday. You have not conquered your satellite yet? One alien asked with surprise. Conquered? Captain Yoon laughed. We don't want to conquer it. We want to explore it and maybe build research stations there. The aliens looked at each other. If humans had not yet conquered their own moon, maybe they were not as powerful as the reports claimed, or maybe they were planning something even bigger. As they flew closer to Earth, they encountered normal space weather. Solar winds caused some minor turbulence in the ship, just like wind might shake an aircraft. But to the aliens, this felt like they were flying into a battle zone. The human world is attacking us, one of them cried as the ship shook slightly. That is just solar radiation, Captain Yoon explained calmly. It happens near every star. Our shields protect us completely. Next, they flew through Earth's aurora field, where charged particles from the sun created beautiful green and blue lights in the upper atmosphere. Look at those colors, Captain Yoon said with wonder. Is that not the most beautiful thing you have ever seen? But the aliens saw the dancing lights as some kind of defensive weapon system. Your planet has energy shields, Park Mina said with amazement and fear. Those are just natural lights, Captain Yoon tried to explain. They happen when particles from the sun hit our atmosphere. Many people travel far just to see them. Because aliens could not believe that anyone would travel to see weapon systems for fun. Then they flew into a thunderstorm over the Pacific Ocean. Captain Yoon knew the ship's shields would protect them from lightning, and he thought the aliens might enjoy seeing the natural light show. But to the aliens, the lightning looked like artillery fire, and the thunder sounded like explosions. We are in the middle of a battle, one alien shouted, hiding under his seat. This is just a thunderstorm, Captain Yoon said, starting to feel frustrated. It is natural weather. Rain helps plants grow. You call this weather? Park Mina asked. This is warfare. Captain Yoon decided to land at a small rural airport to show the aliens that not all of Earth was scary cities and military bases. He chose a tiny airfield in farming country, where the only buildings were a small control tower and a hangar. This looks like a forward military outpost, one alien observed as they landed. It is just a place where small aircraft take off and land, Captain Yoon explained. Many are used for crop dusting and emergency medical flights. They got out of the ship and walked toward the small airport building. The aliens stayed very close together and jumped at every sound. That quote S when they met Lim Chae-young, a 16-year-old girl whose family owned the apple orchard next to the airport. She was selling fresh fruit from a small stand, trying to earn money for college. Hello? She called out cheerfully when she saw the visitors. Would you like to try some fresh apples? They are very sweet. The aliens looked at the red and green apples with suspicion. What kind of rations are these? Park Mina asked. Rations? Chae-young laughed. They are just apples, food that grows on trees. Here, try one. She held out a bright red apple to Park Mina. The aliens had a quick conversation in their own language. They were trying to decide if the fruit was some kind of biological weapon or if it was safe to eat. Finally, Park Mina took a small bite of the apple. Her crystal-like face showed surprise, then wonder. "This is delicious," she said. "It is sweet and juicy and unlike anything I have ever tasted." The other aliens tried the apples too, and they all had the same reaction. Food on their homeworlds was nutritious but bland. These apples had amazing flavors they had never experienced. "How do you make these?" one alien asked. "We don't make them," Chaeyoung explained. "They grow naturally on trees. My family just takes care of the trees and picks the fruit when it is ready." "You grow your own food instead of taking it from others?" Park Mina asked. "Of course," Chaeyoung said. "Most humans grow food or buy it from people who grow it. We work together to make sure everyone has enough to eat." For the first time since they had arrived, the aliens began to see humans as something other than dangerous warriors. Maybe they were more like farmers and gardeners. But then Bae Minjae arrived and everything went back to being confusing. Bae Minjae was the local sheriff, and someone had called him to report strange aircraft activity at the airport. He drove, up in his police car, wearing his uniform and carrying his service weapon. The aliens saw the uniform and the gun and immediately assumed he was a high-ranking military officer. "Greetings, Commander," Park Mina said formally. "Commander?" Minjae laughed. "I am just the sheriff. I keep the peace in this county. Is everything okay here?" Someone reported unusual aircraft. "We are peaceful visitors," Park Mina said carefully. "We do not wish to fight." "Fight?" Minjae looked confused. "Why would we fight? I just came to make sure everyone was safe and following the rules." "What kind of battles do you oversee in this region?" one alien asked. "Battles?" Minjae thought for a moment. "Well, we have been having some problems with a bear getting into people's garbage, and sometimes I have to deal with teenagers driving too fast. But no battles." The aliens heard bear and problems and immediately jumped to conclusions. "You fight dangerous alien creatures," Park Mina said with amazement. "Bears are not aliens," Minjae said. "They are animals that live in the forest. Usually they are not dangerous, but this one has learned that human garbage cans have food in them." "You allow hostile creatures to live near your settlements?" an alien asked with shock. "Bears were here first," Minjae explained. "This is their home too. We just try to coexist peacefully." The aliens could not understand this at all. On their worlds, any dangerous creatures had been eliminated long ago. The idea of sharing space with potentially dangerous animals seemed insane to them. As the day continued, every attempt to show the aliens peaceful human life somehow reinforced their belief that humans were incredibly tough and dangerous. Even acts of kindness and cooperation were interpreted as signs of military discipline and strategic thinking. When they returned to the space station that evening, the aliens were more confused than ever. They had seen evidence that humans might be more complex than simple warriors, but they still could not shake their fear. Park Mina spent a long time writing her report that night. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Shin Somin was a human child psychologist who worked at the space station. She had been watching the interactions between the aliens and humans for 3 days, and she finally understood what was really happening. She found Park Mina sitting alone in the station's observation lounge, staring out at Earth through the large windows. "May I sit with you?" Somin asked politely. Park Mina looked nervous but nodded. "You are human, so you can sit wherever you wish." "I can sit here because you said yes," Somin corrected gently. "Humans ask permission just like anyone else." "But you are the dominant species on this station," Park Mina said. "This is our home, so we built this station," Somin agreed. "But that does not make us dominant. We built it to welcome visitors like you." Park Mina was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, "Why are humans so dangerous?" "What makes you think we are dangerous?" Somin asked. "Everything I have seen confirms the reports. Your world has extreme weather that could kill most species. Your children train for combat situations. Your people consume living creatures. Your cities are built to withstand attacks." Soman nodded thoughtfully. I think I understand the problem now. You are seeing everything correctly, but you are missing the context. What do you mean? Tell me about your homeworld, Somin said. What is it like? Park Mina's crystal face seemed to glow a little brighter as she talked about home. Zephyr, Prime is beautiful and peaceful. The weather is always perfect. Dangerous animals were removed long ago. We grow our food in controlled environments. Our cities are built for comfort and beauty. That sounds wonderful, Somin said. How long has your world been like that? For thousands of years, Park Mina replied. We learned to control our environment very early in our development. Humans are much younger as a space-traveling species, Soman explained. We only learned to leave our planet recently. We are still learning to work with our environment instead of controlling it. Work with it? Park Mina asked. Yes. The extreme weather you saw? We learned to build houses that can survive storms and earthquakes. We learned to predict hurricanes and move people to safety. We learned to plant trees that prevent floods. You adapt to danger instead of eliminating it, Park Mina said slowly. Exactly. And our children practice safety drills, not because they are soldiers, but because we want them to know how to survive if something bad happens. But what about consuming living creatures? Park Mina asked. We eat plants and animals because that is how life works on our planet, Soman explained. But we also protect animals and grow food carefully so there is enough for everyone. Park. Mina was quiet for a long time, thinking about this new perspective. Meanwhile, Kama Jung Tai-hyung was having a similar conversation with other members of the alien delegation. He was a human historian who specialized in studying how different cultures developed. I want to show you something, he told a group of aliens who had gathered in the station's conference room. He activated a large display screen and showed them images from Earth's history. This is what our planet looked like during the Ice Age, he said, showing pictures of frozen landscapes. Much of our world was covered in ice. Many species died out. But humans survived. How? Asked Dr. Vex, the insectoid scientist who had been afraid of Choi Yuna. We learned to make fire for warmth. We learned to make clothes from animal fur. We learned to work together to hunt large animals for food. He showed them more pictures. Volcanic eruptions, asteroids impacts, climate changes, climate. Every few thousand years something happened that could have wiped out our species. Volcanoes that blocked out the sun, diseases that killed millions, natural disasters that destroyed entire cities. But you survived all of this, Dr. Vex observed. Yes. Not because we are warriors, but because we are stubborn. We refuse to give up. When something terrible happens, we help each other and find a way to keep going. The aliens began to understand that human aggression was actually human determination. What they saw as combat training was actually survival skills. What they interpreted as military discipline was actually cooperation in the face of hardship. Nayan, a human biologist, decided to take a different approach. She invited the aliens to visit a special facility on the station, a nature preserve where earth plants and animals were kept for research. I want to show you something amazing, she told them. She led them into a large dome filled with trees, flowers, and small animals. The aliens were amazed by the variety of life forms. This is just a tiny sample of life on Earth, Nayan explained. Our planet has millions of different species. You keep dangerous creatures in your living spaces? One alien asked nervously. These are not dangerous, Nayan laughed. She pointed to a small bird singing in a tree. That is a robin. It eats insects and builds nests. And that is a rabbit. It eats plants and hops around. She showed them flowers, butterflies, and fish in a small pond. But the reports said your world is full of deadly predators, Park Mina said. We have some dangerous animals, Nayan admitted. But we also have millions of harmless ones, and even the dangerous ones are important. They help keep the balance of nature. You protect creatures that could hurt you? Dr. Vex asked. Yes, because we learned that every creature has a role to play. Wolves eat deer, which prevents the deer from eating all the plants. Bees pollinate flowers, which helps plants reproduce. Even bacteria help break down dead material so new plants can grow. The aliens had never heard of such a complex system. On their worlds, life was simple and controlled. The idea of millions of species all depending on each other was completely new to them. Humans are just one species among millions, Nyan explained. We are not the rulers of Earth. We are part of the community. This was the key insight that began to change everything. Huang Kyung-soo, a human philosopher, helped the aliens understand the deeper meaning. Other species in the galaxy learned to control their environments, he said. You removed danger and created perfect worlds, but humans learned to live with danger and find beauty in chaos. But why? Park Mina asked. Why not make your world safe and comfortable? Because we discovered that struggle makes us stronger, Kyung-soo explained. Not stronger in combat, but stronger in spirit. When we face challenges together, we learn to care for each other. When we see beauty in wild places, we learn to appreciate the unexpected. You choose to live with difficulty, Dr. Vex said with amazement. We choose to live with reality, Kyung-soo corrected. Our world taught us that life is unpredictable, so we learn to be ready for anything. But we also learned that the most important thing is to help each other through the difficult times. As these conversations continued over several days, the aliens began to see humans in a completely different light. They were not warriors preparing for battle. They were gardeners tending a wild garden. They were not conquerors seeking to dominate others. They were explorers seeking to understand the universe. Dr. Vex approached Choi Yuna, the human scientist he had been avoiding. I owe you an apology, he said. I was afraid of you because I did not understand what humans really are. What do you think we are? Yuna asked. You are survivors, he said, but not the kind who win by defeating others. You are the kind who win by refusing to give up and by helping others refuse to give up too. Similar conversations were happening all over the station. Aliens who had been terrified of humans were now curious about them. They wanted to understand how humans had learned to thrive in such a challenging environment. Kim Jinwoo, the Eldorian medical officer, came to find Lee Daeho. I have been studying human biology, he said. I thought I was learning about weapons, but now I realize I was learning about tools. Tools? Daeho asked. Your strong muscles are not for fighting. They are for lifting heavy things and helping others. Your quick reflexes are not for combat. They are for catching children who fall and avoiding accidents. That is exactly right, Daeho said with a smile. Humans are not dangerous because you want to hurt others, Jinwoo continued. You are dangerous because you are so good at protecting the things you care about. This insight spread throughout the alien delegation. Humans were not monsters. They were guardians. They had learned to be tough and strong and quick, not to attack others, but to defend their families, their communities, and their world. As the aliens prepared to return to their homeworlds, they carried with them a completely new understanding of humanity. They had come expecting to meet the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Instead, they had met the most determined species in the galaxy. And they had learned that sometimes determination could be far more powerful than any weapon. 6 months later, the galaxy was a very different place. Lee Daeho stood on the observation deck of a transport ship heading toward the Centauri system. But this time, he was not alone. 3 young aliens sat with him, asking endless questions about Earth and humans. Is it really true that humans share their world with creatures that could eat them? Asked Zix, a small furry alien who reminded Daeho of a teddy bear. Bears and big cats are not usually dangerous to humans, Daeho explained patiently. We just have to be careful around them and respect their space. And you really live under that giant moon without any artificial gravity support? Asked another passenger. The moon's gravity actually helps stabilize our planet, Daeho said. It creates the tides in our oceans, which helps mix nutrients and oxygen in the water. These aliens were not afraid of Daeho. Instead, they were fascinated by him. Word had spread throughout the galaxy about the amazing humans who had learned to thrive on one of the most challenging worlds in known space. The change had started with Park Mina's report to the Zephyrian government. Instead of warning about dangerous warriors, she had written about incredible survivors who had turned their harsh world into a paradise. Through cooperation and determination, humans are not aggressive, she had written. They are adaptive. They do not seek to conquer, they seek to understand. Their strength comes not from weapons, but from their refusal to abandon each other when times are difficult. Other members of the alien delegation had sent similar reports to their own governments. Dr. Vex had written a scientific paper titled Symbiotic Evolution: How Humans Learned to Thrive Alongside Millions of Species. Kim Jinwoo had published medical research showing how human biology was perfectly designed for cooperation and mutual aid. The Galactic Council had been forced to revise Earth's classification. It was still considered a Class Z world, but now, the designation read, Earth, Class Z Adaptation Zone. Inhabitants display remarkable environmental integration and survival cooperation. Approach with respect and openness to unique learning opportunities. This new classification had changed everything. Instead of avoiding humans, alien species were now eager to learn from them. Song Woo-bin, the human merchant, found himself busier than ever. But now, instead of selling Earth products, he was selling Earth knowledge. Aliens wanted to learn about sustainable farming, wildlife conservation, and disaster preparedness. How do you grow so many different crops on the same land? Asked a crystalline trader. Crop rotation, Woo-bin explained. Different plants take different nutrients from the soil and put different nutrients back. By changing what we plant each season, we keep the soil healthy. This concept was revolutionary to species who had been growing the same crops in the same places for thousands of years. Choi Yuna, the human scientist, had become one of the most sought-after researchers in the galaxy. Aliens invited her to their worlds to help them understand how to bring back biodiversity to their sterile planets. But what if the predators eat the prey animals? Worried a methane breather scientist. That is the point, Yuna explained. Predators keep prey populations healthy by removing sick and weak individuals. Prey animals keep plant populations healthy by eating them before they grow too thick. Everything is connected. On Earth, Kim So-young had been appointed as the planet's first official galactic ambassador. Her job was to coordinate the new Earth Experience program that Park Mina had suggested in her report. The program allowed aliens to visit specially designed facilities where they could safely experience aspects of Earth's environment and human culture. Alien visitors could walk through controlled forest environments, experience mild weather changes, and interact with carefully selected Earth animals. But the most popular part of the program was simply spending time with human families. The Chang family in Seoul had been hosting alien visitors for 3 months. Right now, they were teaching a group of silicon-based collective members how to make kimchi. The vegetables must ferment slowly, explained Mrs. Chang. This allows good bacteria to grow, which makes the food healthy and delicious. You deliberately allow microscopic life forms to alter your food? Asked one of the silicon visitors. Yes, fermentation is one of humanity's oldest technologies, Mr. Chang said proudly. We learned to work with bacteria instead of against them. This cooperation with microscopic life amazed the aliens, whose sterile worlds had eliminated all bacteria long ago. They were beginning to understand that humans had learned to work with life at every level, from the smallest germs to the largest. Animals. At schools around Earth, human children were now regular pen pals with young aliens from across the galaxy. Oh, Jisoo, the girl who had accidentally started the emergency drill, was teaching a class of Etherian children about Earth games. This is called hopscotch, she explained over a video call, jumping on numbered squares drawn on the ground. It helps us practice balance and counting. You train your coordination through play, observed one of the alien children with amazement. It's not training, Jisoo laughed. It's just fun. Want to try making your own hopscotch game? The alien children were delighted to discover that learning could happen through joy and games, rather than formal instruction. Meanwhile, comma changes were happening on alien worlds too. The Zephyrian government had started an experimental program to reintroduce weather variations to their perfectly controlled climate. They wanted to see if their people could develop the same kind of adaptability that made humans so remarkable. We have lived in comfort for so long that we forgot how to grow, explained a Zephyrian official. Humans showed us that challenges can make a species stronger, not weaker. On Eldoria, Kim Jin-woo had convinced his government to create the first nature preserve in their planet's recorded history. They were trying to bring back some of the wild plants and animals that their ancestors had eliminated thousands of years ago. Humans taught us that diversity creates stability, Jin-woo explained to his skeptical colleagues. Maybe our world would be healthier if it was less perfect. But perhaps the biggest change was happening in space itself. The old fear and suspicion between species was being replaced by curiosity and cooperation. Hwang Kyung-soo, the human philosopher, had been invited to speak at universities across the galaxy. His lectures about finding strength in struggle and discovering beauty in chaos were packed with alien students eager to understand the human perspective. Humans are not unique because we are stronger or smarter than other species, he told a mixed audience of aliens and humans. We are unique because we learned that our differences make us stronger when we work together. After one of his lectures, a young Vorthak student approached him with a question. Professor Huang, my people eliminated weakness from our society long ago. Only the strongest survive to reproduce, but humans seem to protect their weak members. Why? Because we learned that today's weakness might be tomorrow's strength, Kyung-soo replied. The human who cannot run fast might be the one who invents a better transportation system. The human who cannot fight might be the one who finds a way to avoid the fight entirely. You preserve diversity of ability, not just diversity of life, the student said with understanding. Exactly. We learned that a community is strongest when it includes many different kinds of people with many different skills. This philosophy was spreading throughout the galaxy, changing how different species thought about strength, success, and survival. On a transport ship heading toward Earth, Choi Jun-ho was making his first journey away from his home planet. He was going to work on an alien mining station, but this time he was traveling as a teacher rather than just an engineer. The other passengers on the ship looked at him with respect and curiosity. They asked him questions about Earth weather, Earth animals, and Earth culture. Some of them were planning their own visits to the Earth Experience program. What is it like to live with so much uncertainty? Asked a crystalline passenger. How do humans stay calm when they never know what might happen next? Jun-ho thought about his grandmother, who had lived through earthquakes and floods but always maintained her garden. He thought about his neighbors, who had helped rebuild their community after a hurricane. He thought about his little sister, who was not afraid of thunderstorms because she understood they brought rain for the plants. We stay calm because we are never truly alone, he said. When something bad happens, we know that others will help us. And when something good happens, we know that we can share it with others. Humans face uncertainty through community, the alien observed. Yes. And community makes us braver than we could ever be alone. As Jun-ho's ship approached the mining station, he looked out at the stars and felt proud of what humanity had accomplished. Not through conquest or domination, but through something much more difficult and much more beautiful. They had learned to turn their greatest weakness into their greatest strength. The mining station came into view, and Jun-ho could see ships from many different worlds docked there. Humans and aliens working together, learning from each other, building something better than any of them could have built alone. At the docking bay, he was met by the station commander, a tall alien with blue skin and 4 arms. Kim Jin-woo, the same medical officer who had once been afraid of humans. Welcome, Teacher Jun-ho.